Thank you. Okay, so my blogs and presentations have been along the lines of assessment methods and how they affect education. And this week it's putting the test to the test. So this week I will be going through why I came about doing this research paper. Basically this is going to go from previous research, and the one specific paper that really caught my attention. It's going to go do 3 different formats, so the open book exam, the closed book exam, and the cheat sheet exam. Then we're going to look at previous research, recent research, which is recent of 2012, the results and the implications of these results. Scientists in the car. Basically, this research paper came about because there was 4 scientists, well 3, but for this picture there's 4. And they commute in a car together, and for a year they spent every day on their commute arguing about which method was the best form of assessment. And it just reminded me of the Big Bang Theory, and straight away I was like, okay, this will be interesting, this sounds funny. So they argued and argued and argued and finally said, right, let's test it then and see who's right. So this is why I'm doing this research study. Okay, so the 3 formats are the closed book exam. This is the traditional format. Students must recall everything they know from memory, and it's, you know, the norm is widely used everywhere. And then we have the open book exam, where basically students can take whatever they like into exam, except any open source information devices. So they can't take a laptop or a computer or an iPod or anything, but basically anything on printed paper. And there's a cheat sheet exam, which is basically you get 1 A4 sheet back in front usually, but that's set by whatever your lecturer says. And you can write whatever you like on there. There's no restriction on font size, but you must be able to read it with normal or corrected normal vision. So the previous research for closed book exams, this is tradition, the norm. Some say it's the best measure of learning, but students find it the most stressful. And the higher anxiety you have during an exam is going to lower your performance. For the open book exam, students prefer these exams, who wouldn't? Students find the exams less stressful. Are they more realistic? In the real world, you do not have to recall everything you know from memory. If you get stuck on a problem in work, in the office, wherever you are, most people have a mobile phone. They have access to the whole world of information, you know, everywhere they go. So is it realistic now to have to recall everything under exam conditions? Although the attendance for these modules are affected, so students are less likely to go to the lectures knowing they can take whatever they like into the exam. But will this end a habit of teaching to the test? There's a lot of lecturers, they only teach you what you need to know for a test. There was a quote that I remember that a friend got from a lecturer. She questioned the theory that he mentioned in the lecture, and he said, why are you asking me this? You don't need to know. Go read what I've wrote. And you know, what does that say about the education system now? And more thought has to go into these exams. The lecturers can't just ask basic questions. They have to obviously be applied questions. They have to show understanding. So the exams themselves are better quality. With a cheat sheet exam, it meets halfway between open exams and closed exams. It encourages students to study more. Students spend a lot of time making those cheat sheets, and I know I did. When I had an exam for a cheat sheet exam, I spent so long making sure everything I could possibly need was on that 2 sides of A4 paper. Again, it affects student attendance in the actual modules, but just like open book exams, more effort has to go into the exam, and it tests understanding and not memorization. The recent research, so this is by the 4 scientists in the car, they used 396 undergraduate students, their students, and the modules they used were statistics and introduction to psychology, so they're all first-year undergraduates. And there were 3 conditions: closed book, open book, and cheat sheet. The results. What they found, they did found a higher score on cheat sheet exams and open book exams, but not very much. It was a very marginal difference. They were positively correlated, so if they did well on a cheat sheet exam, they would do well in an open book and a closed book alike. But students overestimated how well they would do in an open exam and a closed book and the cheat sheet exam in comparison to a closed exam. The anxiety levels in the previous research has shown that cheat sheet exams will lower anxiety levels to the same of what an open book exam would. But this research found that it didn't. There was a clear line, so the highest anxiety was in closed book exam, the middle anxiety was in cheat sheet exams, and the lowest of all anxieties was in open book exams. The retention rates I thought would be really, really high in open books because it's bringing deep level learning and understanding, but there was no difference in retention rates throughout this experiment. So no matter if they used open book, closed book or cheat sheet, there was no difference in retention rates. So the conclusion, there's a very small difference in scores, very small. Anxiety is reduced. If the open book exams and cheat sheets do focus on higher level skills, there is no change in the retention rates if you do use open book or cheat sheet exams. And lecturers don't put so much emphasis on teaching to the test if these measures are used. And that these tests are testing to understanding as opposed to memorization. Any questions? Awesome.